Soundboard, come on. The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by A Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
Lady boy.
I'm going to turn off the... Oh, shit, you made him stop dancing. I was going to turn off the splash screen so people could watch him dance. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mind of a Geek. I'm your host, Nate, and I am joined, as always, by Brandon. Brandon?
What is dead may never die.
How do you kill that which has no life?
What's going on?
Oh, not much. It is Saturday. It is the first Saturday. This is the third start point, but second time that this show has moved. It started on Monday.
Oh, it'll move again.
It moved to Friday. Now it is Saturday. And it is earlier. I think it's the first time we've made it earlier. I think it was Monday at 9:30, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was Sunday at one point.
Was it Sunday at one point?
It was Sunday at 9:30, I think, and that sucked.
Yeah,
Friday night sucked
because it was
for me.
like post Geek Access.
Right.
Back when that was a thing.
But now, Saturday night at what was going to be 8 o'clock. But then we got on to other topics.
We got onto a whole lot of things. Sorry. My God, so here's the thing. If you are not watching, or if you were not watching live on Twitch, I cannot stress this enough. And the chat room that is there, and I'm sure probably even Herald can attest that at the very least for this month alone, go pay your $1 on Patreon to hear the pre-show, because it was like 45 minutes and it was incredibly fun. Patreon.com/IG Studios.
Just this once. Go.
Yeah, even if it's just for I'm telling you, that is worth your $1. Like, I promise you, it was great. And it was a bunch of fun. But as you heard me mention the name,
it was a bunch of fun. It just happened.
You don't have to tell me. I was there.
I still feel it in me. All the laughs, all the racism, all the humor, all the porno talk. But we're not going to dive into that here.
I'm going to be falking your ass later.
It already happened.
Someone clip that.
Shit. Anyway, so our guest this evening from the Quit Stalling Network, joining us all the way from the Philippines, Sunday morning. He is in the future.
And he's got the moves.
And he's got the moves. He is dancing. He does not talk. He is a mime.
He's trapped in a box.
He's going to mime.
He's in a box. Hilarious.
Herald Silvestre, whatever.
Silvestre?
You just gave up. At this point, like it's moot. It's a moot point.
I mean, I would say welcome to the show, but like we've been chatting for the last 45 minutes, so it's like, I mean, I'll break the fourth wall, but yeah, man, thanks for coming on and welcome.
Thanks guys. Nate, Brandon, it's a long time listener, first time caller, and I'm a fan of the show. I would like to say that I am your second or number 2 Asian fan.
Does that mean you're the shitty one?
Well, I am shittier than number 1, but not as shitty as number 3.
Do you guys not do like the number 1, number 2 reference there for bowel movements?
Oh, we do, but that totally went over my head. That's my bad.
It's because you're short.
Yeah, we Asians, okay. we have. Oh my God, let's not focus on my Asianness right now.
It's good to be short. You only have to look for shit in one direction.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I love our chat room. Amy the chat has already said, I think I've pulled an ocular muscle from all the eye rolling.
So sorry, Amy. I've spoken to Amy like once when we did like an Overcast thing, like a tournament, and then I think since then she's, I don't know if it's purposefully, but she's avoided me. No, I don't think it's purposefully. Hi, Amy. I don't even think she remembers me.
Well, see, now we're bringing our show back Monday. The show that me and Amy do, Indie Case Files. So you can come in the Twitch chat and harass her.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Now that I'm on days and things are normalizing, everything's coming back. But anyway.
Someday we'll watch a movie again and talk about it too.
Yes, indeed.
I do miss movie busters.
Movie busters. I was thinking about maybe next Sunday or the Sunday afterwards. Bring it back. Now that I can watch a movie basically any night now, so it works. It's great. But we aren't here about us. We're here about Herald.
We're always here about
Herald.
us. It's a masturbatory podcast.
It is. We are expert fishermen. We're masturbators.
Oh yes.
You're just the lube to our self pleasure.
I too like to pleasure myself on air.
Dude, I was telling him
talking.
about the HomePod and about how bassy it was, and I was telling him I put on thunderstorm sounds. He's like, "Oh, do you use that to go to?" Well, in other words, he's like, "Oh, do you use that to go to sleep or to masturbate?"
Do you remember in that? You remember in the Howard Stern movie
I mean,
when he
you
gives
didn't
a
quite
woman an
say
orgasm?
the term masturbate, but you mimed it on camera for me.
That's hilarious.
According to your physical estimation, I'm pretty well equipped. So I mean, I wasn't insulted. He was like all the way up here with that shit.
So you just well, that's nice. It's nice to be you're wrong, but it's nice.
Oh, he couldn't have been more wrong. Very Asian in that category.
So do you take that? Do you take that pod and put it between your legs and just fire the bass up? Siri!
This might be the first guest that we cause a heart attack. But I mean, if something has to make us famous. But yeah, so you join us from the Quit Stalling Network. I've kind of taken a peek at it over the past couple weeks as we mentioned in the pre-show. We see your shoulder. I like the Overwatch jacket. Am I just seeing the
You're
Overwatch
just noticing
logo?
that now?
Yeah, I'm just seeing that now for the first time.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I thought you were peeking inside, so I was like, oh. No.
This is the second week in a row the guest was wearing Overwatch paraphernalia.
Mm-hmm.
The disease is spreading.
Not to me. I'm immune.
But so why don't you tell us a little bit about your network and what you guys feature there, and then we'll just kind of fan off.
Quite quickly we will fan off. I'm really not used to being the one to talk about himself because I usually, like on our shows, I ask people what they do. So this is quite a change, and my vanity is quite pleased. Like I'm eating this up. So, thanks to the inspiration of podcasts like The Instance, Casually Hardcore, Hi Gnomewise, CTR, and then shows from there that I've managed to discover. Like I decided like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, this March, to start doing my own podcast with a friend. So that friend of mine, Mikhail, he was my best friend growing up in high school and college, and we were those friends that were like, yeah, we should do a band, we should make a band, we should write a TV show, we should stream video games on the internet, and
of the three, pick the easiest one.
Things are accessible now. Yeah, so
right.
Yeah, of the three, it really was the easiest one.
That's so funny because outside of Nate, my other friend Raul, we always talked about that too. Just our conversations alone. We should do a show. Now I actually do shows, and he doesn't want to do one.
Fucker.
Oh,
He's in Vegas right now. He just jumped off that tower. He lost a poker game, and the bet was if he lost, he had to jump off.
I'm not familiar.
I don't know. Neither am I. Some big
He
fucking
committed
tower in Vegas.
suicide because he lost a poker game?
Like you skydive off this tower. It's high enough to do that.
That would be fun.
Fuck that, dude. I'm all set.
In the chat, Ginger says your ego is now taller than you.
Wow.
Oh, yes. I am 5'11 3/4, so it is now officially 6 feet. Thanks. The ego is 6 feet. It's broken that quarter inch. Okay, so yeah, and then one day I was just like, we have to quit stalling and just do one of these things, and we decided to start streaming games online. We wanted to stream HOTS because it was free. We both had it, and his internet could handle streaming. Mine at back then, I was on my LTE on my phone, which ended up killing my 5S. So it was horrible.
It's okay.
So
it's an Apple product. It only has to last a year.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, you guys have that next plan that lets you upgrade consistently.
Yeah.
We don't have that here in our third world country. So
you have a shithole. It's a shithole.
True. I do have fiber.
Low energy.
But you can just get a pirated one,
Low
right?
energy.
Yeah, just get a pirated phone. Like 3D print that shit.
That's true.
It's a green apple.
I could just get Android on a 3D printed phone. So yeah, we decided to stream HOTS, and from there I slowly pivoted the gaming stream, and I was like, we should spend like the first 15 minutes talking about like stuff we did today, and the stuff we watched, and over time I just increased the talking, and we just ended up getting too tired to play games, and it turned into a podcast successfully.
Nice.
Thanks to my pivoting, and none of it, he was none the wiser until I started talking about it like this to our friends. So yeah, from there, I was like, if we're gonna do this, I want to do it like full on. I don't want to half-ass it. So I photoshopped some graphics together that now look half-assed. Like 2 years after they've been made, they look really horrible. But yeah, like I really wanted to create content, and as you put it, verbally masturbate on the internet. Like I just wanted to hear myself talk about stuff that I liked. And thankfully over the past 2 years, other people have found us, and we've pressured our friends enough to listen to us consistently that it's become something I can't live without anymore. Hi, Francis.
I like how you look right into the camera when that happened.
It is one of those things that once it kind of becomes like, because of weather or work or illnesses, like we've had plenty of times where like things go on a hiatus for a little while, and it feels like a part of you is missing. And it definitely does become a big part of your life. And then now with the schedule change, we're adding a new show, bringing back a couple shows. Like it's going to be like, I think like 5 days a week is what we'll be doing for evenings. And so it'll be, he just popped a boner.
Sooner or later, Steve and I will start a podcast too. So that'll be another one.
Oh yeah.
Once we get around to it.
Yeah.
We're going to call it Cave and County.
Should just be Cave in the County, because don't you both kind of live in caves?
You do. I do. He doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he lives in the county.
Oh,
That's
so
why it's
you
Cave
are
and
the
County.
cave.
Yeah, no.
I figured he was the cave.
No, he's the county. I'm the cave.
Okay.
The connotations are there.
Who's racist now, Nate?
Hey, what? I wasn't being racist. I was being racial.
But I don't think, when that show starts, I don't think that'll be a live show because his internet can't handle it. It'll just be uploaded.
His internet is slow.
He is in the county.
He is.
He is in the Philippines.
Which is not a good thing.
With snow. It would be a good thing if you had internet there, like legit internet, I would be there. What was that?
Oh, we have fiber.
No idea.
I'm on fiber right now.
What
if you want
was
to come
that?
over.
Are there ghosts in here?
I don't know. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was fucked
Was
up.
it Siri?
It might have been. Siri? I didn't say hey.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to the episode, because I don't know what that was.
Ghost in the machine,
I just
man.
heard somebody talking.
It was like right over my shoulder.
Yeah. It had to have been the HomePod.
My butthole puckered up a little
That's
bit.
creepy.
The ghosts also are fans.
Did the people at home hear it? You guys, let us know. Let us know.
Well, technically, we're all at home. So at least two people at home heard it.
Chat.
Shit.
Oh man.
So what do you guys? So you guys have? You've now? I was trying to kind of break it down by looking at like your YouTube page, right? Because for some reason I went on the Twitch page. And I think Twitch was acting up because it said like 0 followers and 0 following, and like everything was weird on Twitch. So Twitch was screwed up.
Yeah.
But I checked out the YouTube page, and like, so do you guys have one show that you just segment into different things, or is it multiple shows now?
So it started out as the Quit Stalling podcast, and then we talk about everything like games, general geek stuff. And we decided to split the two up. We now have Game Bite and the Quit Stalling Geekcast. And then aside from that, like through luck with some friends, we've been able to go to cons and interview game developers, and we've uploaded those as well. We've done an Overwatch tournament over the holidays, like we did, like around November-ish. We were able to do the Quit Stalling Overwatch Online Open. It's a mouthful. We call it the Kyusu! The Kyusu! And it was super fun. It was my first time casting anything, and it was great. It made me appreciate how hard it was to cast video games, because when you when you watch like commentators for basketball and other traditional sports like soccer, it's you could be slow paced and not miss a beat. You know, you could actually skip a couple of things, especially with basketball. You could talk about something else like what happened in the locker room and then get back, and they're still scoring 2 points every possession.
Yeah, and when you're commentating on TV, I mean, the visual lends itself to the commentation. So you don't. It's not like radio where you have to be right on everything. You can kind of segue.
Exactly.
Yeah, with video games,
with Overwatch,
like
if you miss something, the chat will be on you.
Yeah.
They will be like, "Oh, I guess I totally missed that one great ultimate," and the camera work. Like I was doing the camera work, I was doing the play-by-play, and I was handling the chat at the same time. So it was difficult.
Jesus.
Difficult.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean, you practically have to be like an auctioneer to be able to do video game and Overwatch is definitely a big thing, especially with like So when it comes to Blizzard games, I don't play StarCraft. I own them for all the extra stuff in all the other games. Like I got the digital collector's edition, but I don't play. I don't know. I'm not any good at it, right?
No,
so
I love StarCraft, but you have
do
to play custom games to have any fun, because when you're just playing to play, especially against other people, I suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We aren't the right nationality to be good at an RTS.
Terrible. I love the sci-fi aspect of it in the story, but yeah, I'm just bad at it.
So with Overwatch, like I know this has been said before, so I won't go too far on this, but like I enjoy it, and it definitely has Blizzard's polish, but it doesn't have the same pull to me as like a WoW or a Diablo. And even Heroes, I adored Heroes. If anything, like, I don't love the MOBA gameplay, but I like the fact that I have all my heroes kind of. It's the toy box. It's the Blizzard toy box essentially. So with those games, whether it be your Heroes or if you branch out to the more popular MOBAs, your League or your Dota, they're all very fast paced. And again, Overwatch adds to that. But the thing with Overwatch that you don't get with your MOBAs are your camera changes and like that extra spectator mode, and it's incredible what these guys do, and they are on the ball. And if you watch the Overwatch League, like they don't miss a beat. And it, to me, as somebody who is lukewarm as a player, I thoroughly enjoy watching the sport and watching it be played out.
I agree with that, because I don't play Overwatch at all, but it's super fun to watch.
Right.
It really is. And like I've seen the feedback on Reddit and sadly on Twitch chat, I've managed to watch live. Like people still criticize those guys because the tournaments that were happening before the Overwatch League and the league that happened before that in Asia, Apex, apparently the camera work was ridiculous, like on another level, even compared to Overwatch League. So now the league's observers, who are the cameramen, are being heavily criticized. The shoutcasters are held to a much higher standard that they should be, because like I would have probably been on the same boat as the viewers now if it weren't for the fact that I shoutcasted my own tournament. After that, I was like, wow, this is difficult.
Right.
And having someone next to you alleviates the pressure, but at the same time, like, having a co-caster alleviates a lot of the pressure. But if both of you miss it, that's twice the amount of hate that you're going to get on the internet.
Right. And now, is that something that you, like, did you enjoy doing that? Like, is that something that you plan to do more of in the future?
Yes, it definitely is. I've actually been trying to get traction on an Overcast group tournament because I really wanted to shoutcast that as well. We're looking to do more tournaments, maybe separate the open division from the people who are like ranked diamond and above, because those people just stomped everyone else during our tournament.
Right.
And then we're trying to work with local teams and run a tournament here that we can live stream, because there's a large lack of tournaments outside of the Overwatch League and contenders and what they're doing. And I actually applied to Blizzard when they were looking for presenters, and I don't think they ever will get back to me until I up my portfolio. But I enjoyed it so much that I do want to do something with it if it's possible.
Nice. Are you getting a team together yourself to participate in the Overpants tournament?
Is that happening soon?
He's got signups on his website.
I'll be right back, guys. You can keep going with the show. Over.
Yeah, no, it's just frogpants.com/TMS. The TMS page has the link.
Overpants, huh?
Yeah, it's the Frog Pants Overwatch tournament. So yeah, he likes his long convoluted shit too.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, no, so that's a thing, and I'm pretty sure that the Overcast crew is getting a team together, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on it. So
nice.
I play a badass Reaper. So
oh yeah,
yeah, I've got my Reaper mask. I've got guns that are getting painted as well too. So I'll have my mask and my guns. Yeah.
Oh sweet! All you need is like a hood, and then you're good.
Yeah.
You just walk around cons.
There you go. You got a hood.
Oh,
you're
there
good.
it is.
I always wear a hoodie because it hides how
Man,
fat I am.
that's awesome, dude. Like, how did you do the guns? Was that?
I
like,
didn't. I bought them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the mask I bought. Amy's telling me, "You're my pocket mercy, and don't you forget it." Yeah, no, I bought the mask fully painted because it was just the plan. So last year kind of went way too fast. The plan was for me to hit the gym, lose a bunch of weight last year, and I was going to go to Nerdtacular as Reaper. And I had bought the mask fully painted. I bought the guns to the point where they just had to be assembled and painted. And then I was going to try and fashion together the outfit, but it was going to be all self-taught. Amy offered to be nice enough to paint and to assemble and paint the guns for me. And then I was going to put the costume together, but I ended up falling behind to where the costume wasn't going to happen. So I told her to back burner the guns so she could work on her stuff. And then it's just something that's slowly kind of coming together, over time. But I mean, at this point, there's no rush. I just, I'm excited to get them when they're done because they'll be cool to have. But I possess very little artistic skill. Like, I'm great with computers and all the technical stuff. I tried to get into painting Warhammer, and it's something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's something that I'm going to get back into now that, again, as I'm a broken record with the whole, like, I'm on days, so my schedule's more opened up now. But in all seriousness, yeah, it's going to open up my time a lot more, so I'll have more time to paint. So I want to try and at least dedicate a few hours once or twice a week to practicing the skill of painting miniatures. And I'm hoping, now that Mind of a Geek's not on Fridays anymore, I'm hoping to get some form of army assembled and painted so I can do Warhammer Nights on Fridays. So
nice.
Yeah, that's
Who do you do Warhammer Nights with? Is it like a local crew? Is
there's a couple local stores here. So there's like an official Warhammer store that's a few miles away, and then there's like several local tabletop stores that do Warhammer Nights.
Shout out to the complex.
They have
the
have
complex
official stores.
Oh yeah, Games Workshop has Warhammer stores.
Oh my gosh.
So yep.
Amazingly, we have one of those, but no IKEA.
Yeah, we have a Warhammer store, no IKEA. No,
Go
but IKEA in Massachusetts is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to go with a trailer and buy all the things.
So what I want to know is, in one of your previous discussions, Harold, did you ever find out if T'Challa could pee with the suit?
We never found that out, but apparently, there was behind the scenes footage found by my co-host, and he just unzips. That's it.
Yeah. Is it like trapdoor in the back, or does he have a hidden zipper in the front?
It's in the front. Suri hit it really well with Wakandan tech. He just goes, and then it just opens up.
But
she's a tech genius.
Isn't that just overkill? Like, doesn't he just like tap the necklace and like the suit comes off?
Yeah, but do you need to get naked to pee? Are you 5?
Well, he's not naked in the suit.
Oh, that's true. That does seem a little more convenient, right?
Yeah, just like tap your chest and take a piss.
I think that if that was the case, he would have to have a second button, right?
Yeah, there'd be a
so
second
button for
button
on
that just
and a
reveals
button
the
for
crotch.
just the crotch.
It is like the urination / quickie button.
And then an emergency button when you have to shit.
Right.
It makes me wonder.
Well, I guess the shit button could also be the. Go ahead.
Maybe it's like a spacesuit where he can just do it all self-contained.
It just disintegrates it. Yeah.
No, like my worry is like if he gets punched in the chest, in the necklace, does the suit disappear and he's just naked in the battlefield?
That would be hilarious.
Maybe it has like a
it's probably
fingerprint
like
sensor.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably specific to his DNA.
Apple designed the home button on the suit.
So when he does the equivalent of "Hey Siri" and then he says, "Call this person," see, there you go. Hey Siri, fuck right off. What?
Hey Zuri, colonizer.
Siri just told him there's no need for that. That's wonderful.
Oh my God.
So speaking of that, let's dive right into Marvel. Because I know Marvel's kind of a thing that you do. It's a
Favorite
thing
comic
that we
book.
do.
Favorite superhero. Go.
Well, I was going to go, what'd you think of the Infinity War trailer?
No. Just say the first thing first.
All right, first thing first. Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, wait. Favorite superhero? I would have to say Spider-Man. The Everyman. Yeah. I should have worn my Spider-Man shirt.
He appeals to the masses.
Yeah. Spider-Man. Favorite comic book? I guess Arc at the same time would be the first Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
That was where I really got into comics back in high school.
How old are you?
I'd go. Sorry.
How old are you?
Oh, 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you missed that. That was when you were upstairs. We talked about the whole, like, how you forgot how old you were for a year. And shit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was outside.
32. So
It's true.
back in high school, like when for me, high school, when Civil War came out, that's when I really got into comics. And I would go like weekly to our comic book shop and buy everything that was tied into Civil War.
Yep.
And only like after 3/4 of the way through did I realize, okay, even though it has the Civil War banner, it actually does not have any direct relation to Civil War. It's just happening during the Civil War.
No,
and,
it's just great
I'm wasting
marketing,
my
so
money.
you spend more money. I did that too every Wednesday, and it would get more expensive and more expensive. I'd go in there and spend $65 a week on shit that I'd read once and put in a box. What the fuck? So then we go right
'cause
back
it's gonna be
to...
worth
Now, are these like side comic arcs that like they
yeah,
happen?
so you have your main comic, right? So if you're going to read Civil War, right?
Right.
But then you'll miss pieces of the story because they'll put it in X-Men, they'll put it in Avengers, they'll have it here, they'll have it there.
So what
And
you're
then,
saying
like,
is comics had
fucking
DLC
Bob-
before video games.
You'll have
did.
basically you'll have a little box in one of the other panels, and Bob will say, "See this number issue of this comic,"
Right. Yeah. So it's
for what they
it's
refer
the
to.
DLC.
basically.
Yeah.
But you know what I
Yeah.
did? I figured out that you can download CBRs, and then I just downloaded everything and read it all. Boom. You know.
Yes.
Now, see, I don't
Piracy.
like physical media. So
Well, you would love reading comics digitally then.
So yeah, well, that's the thing is like, so I started to get into comics because I was never a comic guy. Like I watched the shows, I watched the cartoons, growing up, like the X-Men stuff like that. But I never actually got into comics, and then into the realm of iPads and comicsology. I was really, really big into comics, not just like the Cape and Cowl stuff, but like I read the first couple of books of Lock and Key, which is the series done by Stephen King's son. I read, there was a couple of things that I read, but then I was getting into the New 52, and I was starting to read the Batman stuff, right? And Comixology had this awesome thing, and it was a great impulse buy tool where you would finish the comic, and the very last page was buy the next issue for X.99, whatever the cost was, right? And it was right there. And, this was like iPad Touch ID. It was like hit the button, hold my thumb on the iPad. I've bought the next book, and I'm going to keep on reading. And it was great for impulse buyers, or bad, depending on how you look at it. And I was consuming, like I consumed maybe like, I don't know. I want to say up to what was available at that point for the Batman New 52 stuff. And I kept reading and reading. And then Amazon bought Comixology. And then Amazon has a hissy fit with Apple. So now, because they don't want to pay Apple their fee, they don't allow you to buy anything via apps on an iOS device. So they removed that button completely. So for now, for me to go buy another comic book, I have to finish the issue I'm reading and then open Comixology on my web browser.
Yeah, it's a hassle.
And then buy the book and then go back to the Comixology app and download it and then open the book. And I'm like, so you guys didn't want to pay the 15% fee, but you're willing to give up all these extra comic sales that you're going to lose because people don't want to take the extra 5 steps?
It's amazing where we're at as a species where we don't want to make a couple extra taps.
Yeah. Well,
fuck you, first world problems.
Well, no, but if that was what I always had to do, that would be one thing. But the fact that you make it more inconvenient just to save 15%, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because I'm an Apple guy. Yeah. So
that's how I have to do it with movies. I buy my movies on Amazon, and I can't buy them in the app, so I have to go to the browser.
Right.
And then they appear after I purchase
see, now
them.
with Movies Anywhere, just buy them on iTunes and they're on Amazon.
No.
So
I'll buy the Apple products. I'm not buying their media.
Well, no. With Movies Anywhere, when you
I know what it works. I know how it works.
Yeah.
Still not going to do it. I'll buy them on Amazon.
Yeah. See, I like to buy all of my media on Apple because I have all the Apple products. So
No, I don't. They have enough of my money.
they can have all the
you know,
money.
well, that's why they give us regular iPhone updates, because
Right.
you always have to have the latest tech.
Yeah, and maybe we'll slow your phone down so you can be forced into buying.
That has
the
been
latest
proven to be fallacy and an old wives' tale. It does not actually happen.
Tech. They admitted it.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Well,
They-
actually, I have a bit of proof. I have my niece's 6S, and I recently bought a 6S because I needed the headphone jack. I bought it like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and I'm comparing it, and hers is way slower than mine for some reason. So I don't know if it's because of the battery, if she's filled it with apps, or
It's just slower.
I
It's
know,
old.
like-
it breaks down. I mean, I kind of made the joke in the pre-show, like it's an Apple product. It only has to last a year. So, the thing is that it's not, the fallacy is that people were claiming that Apple was putting stuff in the software that would slow down the old phones. That is what is fallacious.
Oh, okay.
What actually happens is the new iOS is optimized for the newest hardware. Because it is optimized for the newest hardware, it is no longer optimized for the old hardware, so it runs slower. Not to be malicious, but just as a direct result as optimizing it for the new hardware. So as
Right,
long
and
as
that's
you,
a great spin to put on something that you've done that's sketchy.
so as long as you always have the new hardware, it's not a problem.
That saves your marketability. We slowed the phones down for the battery life because the batteries degrade over
it's
time.
for
But we weren't going to
you.
tell you that until we got straight up caught doing it. But I'm not going to knock it because I still buy Apple products.
Right.
So,
And
Yeah.
the iPhone 10 is phenomenal.
so far, I haven't broken it yet.
Oh man. So
Well,
so
it's
wait till this.
it's March, so we only we have September. So it's 6 months till we have the iPhone 11. So it only has to last 6 more months.
Gosh.
So yeah, isn't that crazy?
How does that work? How does that work in America? So you have that plan, right, where you could just trade in the phone.
So-
You just go to the store and be like, hey.
So there's several ways. So
Yeah, but you have to pay it down to a certain point, or you have to pay the phone off before you trade up.
right. So with Verizon, so as far as me, because I'm a Verizon user, and then Apple also has their own service now too. So with Verizon, you have to pay 50% of the phone, or you have to pay 50% to be able to trade it in, or 100% to keep it, obviously. So the way that they do the Edge program is that to pay off your phone, you're paying it off over 2 years. The new iPhone comes out every September. So as long as you get it on launch day, when the new phone comes out, they time your payments so you are 50% paid off when the new phone comes out.
Yeah, but I typically skip a generation because it's,
Right.
I usually go for the S generation because they've typically worked out the bugs and it's a little bit better.
Right.
Except for the 10. I did go for the 10 early.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. The edge to edge is nice. The Face ID, I was worried about the Face ID at first, right? Because
I've never had a problem.
yeah, because the Touch ID, like again, I don't like AT&T, so I've always been Verizon, and I was stuck with a couple droids, like the Motorola droid, like the Oh Jesus droid. We're gonna go Oh Jesus now. If you want the reference, listen to the pre-show. So I had the one where you slid it up for the keyboard, it was like 1999 and shit. So when Verizon got the iPhone 4S, which was the first iPhone to go on Verizon, I went with the iPhone, and I've been in love ever since. And then they introduced the Touch ID with, what was it, the 5 or the 6, whichever one had the Touch ID. And like the first year and a half, the Touch ID was a pile of shit. And even up until like having it on the 7S or the 8, or there was no 7S, the 7 or the 8, the Touch ID was still not spot on. Like if you didn't hold it the right way, it would say like it would give you that buzz.
No, I've never had that issue.
Oh, you haven't? I bite my fingers. That's probably why.
Maybe.
But I've never had an issue with Face ID. I absolutely love it. I like the fact that even
Face ID has been flawless from the start.
Yeah.
And I'm using an iPad Pro that has Touch ID. I'd never have a problem with it. My last phone was a 7.
Wow.
No problem.
yeah, I'm excited.
I hear.
Oh no, go ahead. You're the guy. By all means.
Tell us to
Go
shut the
ahead.
fuck up.
Oh yeah, get out of my way. It's my turn. No, I hear it's because for Caucasians or for white people it works well,
Wow.
and then for people who aren't, like that's what I heard. That's what I read as well.
I wonder if that
on,
has to do with the melanin in your skin. Like Nate has tattoos, right? So he has to keep the watch in a certain spot for it to be able to register.
No way.
Yeah. So the heart rate sensor and the security sensor on the watch, it will not penetrate black or red tattoo ink.
So I wonder where
if
the
you look at
melanin
my
makes your
wrist,
skin darker if that
I don't know
fucks
how
it up.
well. I mean, I can just take my watch off. I don't need it at the moment. And you can see the imprint. So do you see where I have to keep my watch? Because it's the one spot of no ink I have, and it just happens to line up. But I have to sit my watch a little bit higher than would normally be comfortable. Otherwise, the watch won't detect my heart rate. Therefore, I can't use like Apple Pay and stuff with the watch. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
yeah.
that's super interesting.
But
I never knew that.
That's not an Apple thing. It's the color pigment in the ink. The infrared sensors that are in the underside of the watch have a hard time penetrating that color pigment. That's why it's specifically black and red ink, which are my two favorite colors. So, and it just happens to be the two colors I have on my hand and my wrist. But no, I'm wondering, does it have to do with facial features? Like, are our facial features more distinguished? Is that part of why there's an issue?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I tried to say that in the most culturally respectably way possible.
Damn, you just alluded to some horrible stuff.
Our faces. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sorry, my mom is in town for like another 3 days, and she just happened to call someone. The only time she calls is during the show.
Oh, we didn't hear it, so.
Oh, you can't.
You just
Okay,
said,
good,
"Oh my gosh," out of nowhere.
Sorry, I just heard her go.
I thought she said something. I
Typical
thought you thought
Asian
she
mom.
said a bad
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, sorry.
Goddamn
I'm so
whiteys.
sorry. Yeah. No, but yeah, like maybe it is the defining features of Caucasian faces. I should look that up actually now that you mentioned
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
I'm just
crazy how
curious,
that
right?
works.
So, like, I don't know.
What
You're
would
not a
your best
Caucasian
guess
though.
be?
You're an Indian.
Yeah,
so
I'm an Indian.
guess not.
Feather, not dot. But
I wanted to ask about that, by the way, because Scott brings it up all the time. Like, is it insensitive to you or any Native American when they say that, or is it
okay? So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, there's nothing you can say to us that's insensitive.
No, I have like. So, are you familiar with the works of George Carlin?
No, but I've heard of the name.
Okay, so George Carlin passed away several years ago. Stand-up comedian. One of his most famous bits is the 7 dirty words you can't say on TV. It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is shit.
I've heard about him on
It is
Comedians and
shit,
Cars.
piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. On the back of my calf, which is clearly visible, it says George. Like, it's tattooed on the back of my calf. It says George Carlin, R.I.P. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. So there is nothing you can say to me that's going to offend me. But that being said, outside of that, no, I mean, I think it's dumb that they were fighting to change the name of the football team from the Redskins. We have fucking red skin. Again, there's a difference between.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the fact that that's. You're gonna pick now to be insensitive about everything. It's an institution. It's the way it is.
Because there's a difference between being racist and being racial. Those are two different things. If you are being racially accurate, do you know what I mean? Like, if you were just using racial descriptors, like, we were kind of playfully joking, like Asians are stereotypically shorter, like you said, like black people have longer legs. They're typically taller,
giant
dongs. That's giant dongs. They're taller. In many cases, they're stronger and faster. So that's why they're the running backs. That's why they play basketball. Like, and
that is not where I thought you were going to go with
no.
that.
So again, but that's not being racist. That's just a racial observation. And I believe that those are two completely different things, right? No different than with anime, right? So a lot of characters in anime are Caucasian. They're white.
Oh.
Which is why they have giant fucking eyes, because that's how you guys see us. So
it really is though.
But yeah, see, but again, but even that's not being racist. It's just being racially observant. And I don't think that there's anything offensive about that.
Well, I think most good people of conscience know the difference.
Right. So
most people don't need to go online and freak out about every little
So
thing.
that being said, no. So I do have an uncle George on my dad's side, who is very Native American in that, like, he has super dark skin. You can really see the features in his face.
Except some Christian named him George.
Except some Christian named him George.
Not like Running Bull or
he's running George.
Shitting George.
Shitting George. So
I am George. How do you do?
I am George. Otherwise, there's Shitting Bull. But yeah. So no, if you call him Indian, like he's not gonna get angry, but like he'll playfully give you shit. Like he'll be like I'm not Indian. Do you see a fucking dot? Things like that. Like he'll say Native American, but I mean, whatever. Who cares? It's no different than people who get butthurt about Christopher Columbus Day. It's like it's Indigenous Peoples Day. It's like I'm fucking Native American and I don't give a fuck. Call it Columbus Day. That's what I grew up with. Like you don't need to change everything.
So
it's like St. Paddy's Day.
Do you get pissed off about your holidays there? Do you have to split hairs about every single thing?
Here?
I mean, wow.
Not really. We pretty much take up your holidays, call them our own. You know. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Woo. Yeah.
We have
President's Day. It's yeah.
So they're gonna give us. They're gonna. Sorry, but they're gonna give us shit about Columbus Day. Yet we're gonna have President's Day, where they were all a bunch of racist slave owners.
I wanted to
seriously?
ask him.
That's true.
Along those lines, I wanted to ask him if he had green rice for St. Patrick's Day. But that's terrible, and I'm not going to.
Man,
wait, you can hear this.
That's almost as bad as when he said he broke his iPhone. I was gonna say, wait a second, aren't you Asian?
Oh, the pre-show is bleeding into the real show. Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Where were we?
So where we're at now, would you say you'd ever come on this show again?
He's already deleted us from his subscription feed. Like we're done.
When can I hang this call up?
No, I love this.
Out of all the guests we've had on where I was 50-50 sure or unsure about what we said, he's the only one who's laughed to the point where like it wasn't an awkward laugh. Like he legitimately looks like he's having a good time.
I think it's a laughter of surprise, and he's just placating us.
This is more of the acting chops that I've developed over the years. No, no, dude, I'm having so much fun, and gosh, I would love to have you guys on our shows sometime. I'm just saying.
Just let us know if we have to tone it down a little bit.
No, well, actually, that's the thing as well. Is I try to tone it down because I've taken Scott Johnson as an example of how I should be if I want a wide audience. You know, like if I can. Okay. I'm imagining I'm imagining kids listening and like.
I'm sorry. No. Hold on. Just because of the context of the rest of our podcast that we've had so far, I swear that you said if I wanted a white audience, not a wide audience. Like, that is legit what I heard. Like, I've been taking tips from Scott. If I want a white audience, this is what I have to do.
Not talk about goose stepping.
Talk about goose stepping. Mormonism. No, but yeah, like I try to censor myself just so people don't feel awkward when they listen to it with their kids or something. Because I pray that someone in the future will listen to it.
We've already established praying doesn't work.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't censor ourselves.
Yeah, my rule of thumb was always if I don't censor myself around my kids, I'm not going to censor myself on my podcast.
Oh, okay.
My kids.
That's a perfectly.
My
good
kids
rule.
hang out with me when I game. I watched. I mean, I fast forwarded the sex scene, but like I watched Deadpool with my 3-year-old.
Well, he can't even comprehend it.
No, because he loves his Nerf guns. He loves.
He's
his
not
stuff.
going to remember all those jokes.
No, and that's the thing is, and like it was more so just for the action because it's fun. I'm more so. To me, it's more appropriate to teach them when it's appropriate, not to teach them what's appropriate.
Okay, that's how my mother was with me.
Yeah. So
yet here we are online where everyone can see us talking about how your face is too flat for Siri to recognize it. That is fucking terrible.
How certain people are more accustomed to sports than other people.
Yeah, sports.
And how he wants a wider audience. But no, I mean, so it like to
you really should appeal to the older demographic if you want a wider audience.
Yeah. Talk about Trump.
Male, 40 to 60. There you go.
Trump, stock markets, and guns. I guess that would be just a white American audience. Yeah, no, but no, like we had Scott on the show and we had Brian on the show. Brian, obviously, more laid back, more casual. But I mean, I tend to be that way. And he's kind of jabbed me a couple times for it because I'll really clean up. Like Scott, like I would not say 99% of what I've said on this episode with Scott on. And even though he's like very subtly, unintentionally racist a lot of the time.
We're intentional about it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, but then I kind of learned that if you the whole point, not the whole point, but a big point of having a big guest is not only for your own enjoyment, but also because your hope is to like maybe cast a net out and catch like 10 to 15% of their audience and kind of make them fans of your stuff. So if you have people who are fans of, using him as an example, Scott's content, and you're very clean on the episode that Scott's on, and then, you're talking about anal sex on the next episode, then you're going to lose. You
really need to be consistent with how you are.
So you have to be who you are, and people are going to like it or they're not. And I've noticed that maybe live or in the Twitch chat, to kind of go parallel with in person, there are more people who would say that they are uncomfortable with certain words, but in the privacy of their own headphones, most people don't give a shit. So, I mean, I've known people who would not swear, who laugh at comedians who do nothing but swear. It's a matter of, it's the stereotype of, you're appropriate in person. And then, what was the whole saying? You had mentioned it too. The, doth protest too much. Like, you're going to have your dark shadows. Yeah. So I suppose that's one thing to come back to.
Yeah. While we're on the topic real quick.
Sure.
Scott always talks about doth he protest too much. Do you think he protests too much about protesting too much?
No, that was, I don't know if you're up to date on, but Brian's starting to give him shit about that. Like you protest too much about protesting too much. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I like you, I was gonna say, I like you. I do. You're cool. But no, but like you, I
like you too.
I don't really like either one of you very much. I'm indifferent to both of you.
It's accepted. Scott was my inspiration too. The IG studio started back in June of 2014, and that was kind of it. Like the first time that my now ex-wife and I had separated, I was dating a girl who introduced me to podcasts. Like, as big of a geek as I always was, I wasn't into the social side of being a geek. So like I didn't get into podcasts. Like I would listen to audiobooks and I would listen to music and stuff at work. And she's like, you should listen to podcasts. And like I didn't even know they were a thing. Yeah. Right? Because I just didn't pay attention to that side of things. So she introduced me to the Instance, and then I got into the morning stream. And then back then Jerry was doing NSFW because he was still with Twit and things like that. And I had and we can kind of tie this to SWOTOR, I guess, because you said you played that too. But so I had a crew of guys that I played SWOTOR with. And one of them, it was a different Brandon, and then one of them was Corey, and I was like, we should do a show. And people who are regular listeners have heard the story a couple of times, but so we just kind of started, and that was it, and then it formed. And where was I going with that?
Well, you were talking about a different Brandon, but really he's not around anymore. There's only one.
No, there's
Brandon.
only one Brandon.
There's varying degrees of Brandons.
You are the oh Jesus Brandon.
But nobody can compare.
Yeah, I mean,
fuck. Look at me.
I mean, really,
just look at me.
You were around. Do I have to?
How can you not? Look at me.
It's distracting.
Look at me. I mean, I cycle through up there. I'm here, man. I just
I mean, just speaking with you on this show, Brandon, you are the most consistent Brandon in my life now.
That's right. Have I moved you?
Hold on.
I am Brandon.
Oh yes,
You're Brandon. You are the Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that you? Is that you?
That's me.
No, it's the soundboard.
I am Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, like, is that his voice?
Oh yeah, that's him.
I'm Brandon.
That's him.
Okay.
Did you not pick up on it? Because like I think those are the only two I have. I have the I am Brandon, and I have the Falcon your ass. That's what I have.
You got a Falk in your ass?
I'm gonna be Falk in your ass later.
It's not that funny.
It is. I love that clip. Okay.
It's great. It's great. It was a great episode of That was a great episode of Sonics and Sabers. Is it Falcon or Falcon? Ah, Jesus. No, but I don't remember why I got into the whole podcasting. Oh, yeah, the whole, like, yeah, but I don't know. It just quickly became, like, you just got to be yourself. That's what it comes back to. Like, you got to just do it and yeah.
Well, it's like he was saying earlier in the show, you know, you start it for your own pleasure.
Right.
That's all I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm not here for viewers. I like viewers, but I'm not here for them. I'm here to listen to you talk and
Well, I think
ramble on about nothing and have fun.
That's the
and
way
watch him dance.
That's the way you get viewers and you get fans, and I think, and that's why so many people, you know, like, I mean, we've got Herald here, obviously, you know, one of our better friends, Corey Scott, you know, became friends with us by being a fan, you know, and then the likes of, like, you know, Amy and JF and all these people that have kind of become the circle. And that's because it's not an act. Like, we might present a little, or at least in my case, I might present a little bit more.
Would you like me to go down the bullet points of the things that you present in every show? I can.
No, because they've already heard them once, probably.
They have. You do it in every show. I could tell you, but I won't.
I present myself.
Yes.
No,
We had this conversation with Corey last week about presentation. I need not go any further.
Okay, good.
STFU.
STFU, Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock, starting April 3rd. Yeah, it's the new show. We'll talk about it a little bit in the post show, but anyway, we completely.
Yes, I will be on your show. Sure, I'll find time for that.
We completely sidetracked from Marvel. We talked about Black Panther having to take a shit, and then we just totally like.
Infinity War trailer.
Oh, you know why? Because the touch ID on the collar. That's where this is fucking sidetracked everywhere.
Yeah, it's dizzying how off topic we got.
Right. So
are we going back to that?
Okay, so what'd you think of the Infinity? Okay, actually, hold on. First off, the question that everybody is dying to know, who doesn't listen to your show and probably already knows, what did you think of The Last Jedi?
Now be careful here. You have to.
I'm sure he's fully aware. He's all caught up.
You're bridging oceans. You're piece across the world, man. Like, you have to go easy.
He's still dying of
Just
laughter
go
over
easy.
there. Like,
I bought that movie and I tried to watch it the other day. Yeah, I couldn't. I got to
really?
I got to the lightsaber over the shoulder part, and I was like,
I have found that I find it entertaining, like when it's on the 4K next to the monitor when I'm gaming. It's there. It's good for like side viewing. No, I saw it twice in the theater, and I still enjoy the movie. I love personally, I love the direction it went. I'm excited to see what they do with Episode 9.
I thought that movie bombed in the Asian market anyway. Am I wrong about that?
I'm not sure about the entire Asian market. Here it did fairly well.
Well, no,
not as good as The Force Awakens.
No,
but
it wasn't going to anyway.
I mean, for me, I listened to your Force Awakens show. That was a mess. That was like 5 people, right? That was awesome. I agree with some. You know, it was great in the sense that we got more Star Wars. You know, a lot of people before we got more Star Wars were saying, you know, the great thing about Disney acquiring the property is that no matter how much we want it or not, we're gonna get more Star Wars, and for better or for worse, that's more Star Wars than we would have had otherwise. So I'm on that boat. You know, like whether it's good or bad, I'm just glad we get more of that universe without having to guess what is canon, I guess, because the EU was kind of crazy because certain parts overlapped and you weren't quite sure which you were supposed to believe, because even George Lucas wasn't sure if he wanted all of that to be canon to begin with. But going back to the movie itself, it could have been better. I've talked on my show about how much I wanted Luke to be a badass.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with Luke being that superhero.
Right.
And I get the direction that they wanted him to be more grounded than the legend, which is something they reference to.
The problem is, though, is that when you watch the OG Star Wars, you see him trending to be this great Jedi hero, this master.
It's the Jesus Star Wars.
And then you miss all of that, and you get the other side of that without ever seeing any of it. and he's jaded and over it by the end of it. And the mythos, like, okay, so do you watch Star Wars Rebels?
Yes. Great
Okay.
ending.
So you know all about that, like the gateway and all of that. All right. So how can they do that in a show and fuck with the canon and change the mythos of the Jedi, and it's okay and I'm good with it and I like it, but in the movie they fuck with it and I fucking hate it.
Yes. I think it's. I mean, if that really, if that was a question, I think it's because we've grown to expect so much of the movies and the characters in the movies, because we've had so much time in between them that we've expected so much. It was like 30 something years,
right,
40 something years till we saw Luke again, and we've built it up in our minds with help from the EU, with help from discussion with our friends that he became some crazy badass that could pull down a Star Destroyer from space and into the atmosphere and down into the sands. Like, how could he not, with all the potential that he showed and was hyped up to be by Obi-Wan and Yoda?
Right, and it's the fucking Skywalker bloodline, so he has the power of Vader,
And you know what? I think the fans do it to themselves in a lot of ways.
That right there is the thing, right? So we did all that, we built it up, so obviously it's a genius move for them to pull a 180 and not give us that in the movie.
Right.
But it's also an outrage.
Because would you not be almost as disappointed if you just purely got exactly what you expected?
No, I'd be real happy. I was happy with The Force Awakens.
See, I was as well. But like, I mean, I don't know. It's man, I say the same thing. So the biggest thing that you hear right now, at least that I hear, is
so when it comes to those movies and you do all this guesswork as to what it'll be about, he went out of his way to make sure that we were all wrong. That's not always the best thing to do.
Guesswork. Just let it be.
But our whole fucking podcasting life is based on that.
No, it is.
What are you talking about?
But I mean, as a general fan, though, the majority of the fans don't do podcasts.
But like just once or twice or maybe 3 times out of 9, it would be great for them to give us exactly what it is that we were looking for. Oh my God, who is Rey? Who is Snoke? See, it doesn't fucking matter. Did The Rock make that movie? You fucking jabronis. It doesn't matter who Snoke is. Fucking A, man.
I told you we're going to kill the guy. So here's the thing, right? And this is what people seem to forget. Now let's look at parallels between the new trilogy, or what will be the trilogy, and then the O Jesus trilogy. I'm sticking with that.
Okay.
I'm bringing it home. It's the O Jesus.
You're taking it back.
It's the O Jesus. Anyway, Palpatine. Okay, before he was Palpatine in the prequels, which I still like the prequels. Before he was Palpatine in the prequels, he was simply the Emperor. Mm-hmm. We knew fuck nothing about him. Yes. Why is that not acceptable with Snoke? Now, you don't have to answer that. Just a hypothetical, right? Not hypothetical. What was it I was looking for? Maybe it was hypothetical. Anyway, whatever.
I don't know. I stopped listening to you for a second there. What?
So anyway. A rhetorical. Thank you. Not hypothetical. It's not a hypothetical question. It's a literal question, but it's rhetorical. So, okay.
So we don't have to answer it.
You don't have to. You can if you want to. But I'm just saying. So why is it a problem with Snoke, but it wasn't a problem with the Emperor? Now, my next one is Phasma. Now, I have 2 points of contention with Phasma. One of them is, so she's the Boba Fett of this trilogy, right?
Yeah.
In that she has cool Mandalorian armor, right? So she looks kind of badass. And the fans have blown her up to be way bigger than she was ever meant to be, just like Boba Fett. Boba Fett was a side character who happened to be badass, who got thrown into a pit. Sarlacc. There we go.
Her armor was formed from one of the Republic ships of Naboo.
Okay, cool. Is that legit canon or just because she's shiny?
No, it's canon.
Is it canon?
Yeah.
Okay. The Naboo. Wow.
So, can you do that one more time?
The Naboo. Shaking my headphones off. Okay, so here's the thing. So because the fans have built her up to be bigger than she was ever meant to be, like Boba Fett, they're mad at Disney for not making her that big when she was never meant to be that big. And I will promise you, I can't promise you, but I would bet you almost anything, if it was not Gwendolyn Christie behind that mask,
well, that is exactly right.
Nobody would give a shit.
If she wasn't already established as a badass in Game of Thrones, it probably... And the armor, it probably wouldn't matter so much.
Right, because
But the way they cut her in the trailers, they make it out like, here she is, and then they, again, fuck us.
Well, yeah, because it's Gwendolyn Christie. They're going to make her, like, she's a selling point.
Yeah, it's marketing, but then you don't deliver on that. Star Wars should never be the movie where you see everything interesting in the trailer.
But look, we saw every single Luke scene in the trailer of The Force Awakens.
Of course we did. He was only in it for like 90
Exactly.
seconds.
But that's what I'm saying though. But they made him out to be like he was going to be a big plot point of the movie. Where I mean, he was the plot point, but physically on the screen, and he was there for as much as we saw him in the trailer.
Right, but that was okay in The Force Awakens because it was such fan service that we were all happy with it. And then we had all that time to be like, holy shit, there he is. What's going to happen? Oh, he's going to throw his lightsaber away and say, fuck
dude,
off.
I fucking loved that.
Yeah,
I laughed so loud when he was like, yeah, fuck it.
But you're like the walking devil's advocate. I mean,
well, no,
whatever is contentious, you're going to be
but
into.
But the thing
so.
is, but no, like I loved it during the movie. Like
yeah, because you knew that it was going to be something that would piss people off, and
not
you could
necessarily. How come I just can't like it on my own merit?
Because you don't like it on your own merit.
I do. It was
you
hilarious.
do not.
I do. It was
Liar.
funny. Like when he was like, reach out, and she's like, like, and he just kind of rolled his eyes in the back of his head. I'm like, okay, that's Luke. Like that's great. And then he like tickles her. He's like, it's the Force. It's like that's still my favorite scene in the movie. Either that or like the pork roasting scene. That was, and when
I hated that scene because the pork looked fake.
Brutal.
When they were looking, I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
so vegan agenda in that movie, and if you look, here's my biggest problem with that scene, and that scene was a particular scene I hated. Force Awakens, she makes those like dehydrated muffins, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that looked pretty real. Good practical effect, maybe. I don't know. It looked realistic.
no, they were real. Those were practical, yeah.
So moving on. Yeah. You go to the pork roasting scene, and he has one behind him in the background. Looks like a roasted chicken. The one on the spit looked like a fucking dog toy. That's just shitty because you don't want to offend the children. Well, it can't look too real.
Well, he's Chewy. Maybe it is a dog toy.
It looked like Big Bird when Big Bird gets roasted in cartoons where he's just standing there. Like, I hated it.
Gosh.
Just let Chewy eat it. It's Chewy.
It's vegetarian, not vegan. The blue milk was okay.
And that's another thing. What the fuck is that?
That was a throwback to episode 4.
Yes, I realized, but okay, so did any of us want to see Luke taking from the teat of some semi-aquatic animal?
It was
that was awkward.
And did we need the weird pleasure from that animal when it was being milked?
And then the look on his face afterwards.
What the hell?
It was a very sexual scene.
Oh. And then Luke looks over. Mm-hmm. Yep, I did that. All right.
So going back real quick, the Phasma thing. I think for Phasma, part of it is the marketing. For me, it is a lot of the marketing because you were exposed to her so much, which I think as a storyteller or as a company that tells stories, you have to put that into consideration with characters. You're putting out a message there that this character is key, and people will begin to expect that because, whether they like it or not, they're doing the Star Wars movies for us, and us as people who watch the content, we were made
but
to
they're
expect.
not though. I'd argue against that. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I think that's where a lot of people have their problem, is that it's not your movie. It's not your movie. It's not my movie. It's their movie. And that's where
but they're only making money off that movie because of us.
And that's fine. No, that's true, but it's still theirs. It's their story. It's no different than how so I have a contention with that.
But that's why George Lucas sold it in the first place, because it became bigger than him. It's not his anymore.
He just had no desire to do it anymore.
Well, yeah, because anything that he did, we were pissed about.
Well, yeah, because the prequels were great, but everyone decided to hate them for no reason. Because they weren't original. They weren't oh Jesus Star Wars.
There's that devil's advocate again.
So no, I'm a prequels guy, man. I've said this before. I never saw the original trilogy until after I saw the prequels.
So yeah, and that's fucked up, which we've talked about before. And Star Wars inherently is an exercise in poor acting, no matter what part you're watching, except the newer ones. Those are better quality. But the greatest thing about the prequels is the expanded universe, the ships, the planets, everything that they gave us begat everything else. Right. That's the greatest thing about that. But the acting is wooden and terrible. The stories are not great. The best thing about that is the Jedi Order and seeing more of it.
Right. And as much as, and I know that this is a contentious opinion, but he was as far as the Phantom Menace, obviously that gave us Darth Maul. So that trumps anything else that movie degraded because it gave us Darth Maul and it gave us pod racing. I know your opinion. I thought the pod racing was. I'm a CGI guy, so I thought the pod racing was cool. And
Waste of time.
if you go in and you look at the making of Episode 1, so much of that pod racing scene was practical. But everyone just said, "Oh, CGI." But so much like the entire track was a practical effect. Like that track existed, and then it was just filmed in such a way where it looked full size. Yeah, it was super tiny, but that track was completely practical. So, and I thought it was cool. I thought Sebulba was a fun character. I loved the completely offensive Jewish stereotype of Watto.
What?
So Anakin, I can't do a voice. I can do Yoda. Bad Watto voice that was.
Bidalani.
There
it
you
is.
go. Watto he can do. I cannot. So, I mean, whatever. But Anakin, an annoying little shit, sure. But then, and then you get to Episode 2, you get the unnecessary Boba, but Jango was cool, right? You get Anakin as like a prepubescent whiny bitch boy. Hayden was annoying as shit in that movie. And that's fine. I will admit that he was annoying as shit. But McGregor was good. You had the
Yeah, McGregor was good, and I need a Jedi, an Obi-Wan movie.
An Obi-Wan movie would be great. But McGregor was good. Jango was good. The whole story, like the whole reveal.
Mace was great.
Yep, the whole reveal of like the clone army came from the Jedi Order. Like, Master Sifo-Dyas, like that was all kind of cool. Like that, like the story that was kind of sprinkled in there wasn't bad. As Brandon said, the acting sucked. But then you get into Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and I mean, I don't know. I thought Hayden nailed it. Like I loved Anakin in that, like just that turn to the dark side, and then like the scene where he throws the saber down and like murdered all like the little Jedi kids. Like, I mean, but he was believable.
Not the younglings.
He was believable, right? And like everyone makes fun of like the whole like I have the high ground. And then of course when Battlefront 2 came out, it was like, you have no chance. I've purchased the high ground DLC. So, and whatever. So everyone's going to make their jokes. But like, I mean, that fight scene was cool. It looked fucking incredible. As everything was falling apart and falling into the lava.
Yeah, that was all amazing. The problem is it's not even the acting in that movie. It's the dialogue. Throughout, it's the dialogue.
guess,
So you, especially between Natalie Portman and...
Oh, Portman was garbage.
Well, she wasn't. It was the dialogue between her and Anakin. You can't blame her for shitty lines. So
fair
you're
enough.
saying love is blind? It's because I'm so in love with you.
Yeah, because that's any better than how parsecs are a measurement of distance, not speed, right? I mean,
That's
bad,
neither here nor there in
bad,
this conversation.
It's bad writing it's bad writing all throughout. I mean, it's no different than The Last Jedi.
Right, but you're not going to tell me that anything in the OG Star Wars was delivered as poorly as
Jesus.
anything in the prequels.
What's the...
That's no moon is not the same as then you are my enemy.
Dude, the writing in the original Star Wars was no better than the writing in Spaceballs.
Wrong.
No, it's not. But I mean, and look at The Last Jedi. I mean, again, they've kept it corny to keep it feeling like Star Wars. I mean, the fucking Force time. I mean,
That was weird.
swipe right.
It was a great expansion of what the Force can do.
Yeah,
But they
like
really
somebody
make
need to come out
Kylo-
and say that's not how the Force works, because that's not how
Oh,
the
yeah,
Force
yeah.
works.
Well, it's just like fucking Leia doing the Gamora thing in space.
Oh,
Like,
you mean
I definitely didn't
Mary
need
Poppins?
that. God damn, man.
Yeah,
Did not need that.
No, they should have went back and reshot some scenes, and they should have had that just kill Leia, and then that way they could have. Because now, what are they going to do in 9? I mean, 9 really has no choice but to start with a funeral scene.
Oof, yeah,
Like
it's gonna be rough.
that's
Be
it.
rough.
But I'm gonna let you pick up. I'm being beckoned by the child. I'll be right
You're
back.
being called.
Go for it. But like, okay, while Nate isn't here, what do you think of some people saying like, what if Matt Lanter could have played Anakin? What if he was old enough to have played Anakin, much like in the live action stuff? Because he is built well
Right.
enough. I think.
Right. Who are you talking about?
The voice. Oh, have you not seen the voice of Anakin in the Clone Wars?
That kid, the kid that the dude
Yeah,
that played
yeah.
him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him.
I think he would have.
But I think anything
Okay.
would have been better. But it's not even, like I said, it's not even Hayden Christensen necessarily. It's just what they were given to work with. But that's just my opinion, and
Okay.
you know Nate's opinion. What is your opinion?
No, I kind of agree with you. You know, there's a reason why they had other writers redo George's original scripts in the original trilogy, the Oh Jesus trilogy, as Nate was saying, because they probably needed a lot of work, and
there's only so much you can salvage. I mean, if they had other writers working on the script and we still got what we got, then damn. But even with the original Star Wars, did George write those scripts by himself? I don't even know.
The original ones, he wrote them by himself. He had people like Spielberg and the guy who ended up writing Empire go through A New Hope, and then he had other lead writers take on Return of the Jedi and Empire, which is why they're so good, because A New Hope, if he had his way, would have been as long and slightly droll as the Phantom Menace and the other prequels, because he wanted scenes like the Biggs and Luke scene at the start that was cut out, and that stuff doesn't do anything to propel the story forward.
No. I mean, it's great for expanding the universe if you want all of that extra stuff in there for the mythos, but when it comes to I was all right with the political side of it and seeing the Galactic Empire come into its own and how that all happened. That was fine until Jar Jar became a politician. I didn't care for that. But the pod racing, that
was.
So just because
this guy has the IQ of a child, and he's
right, exactly. Well, what the fuck? Okay, we need him out of the way because nobody liked him. Well, let's make him I guess that's actually a good play, on reality, because politicians are fucking stupid. But anyway,
we have Manny Pacquiao as a senator.
Yeah,
so it happens.
Yeah, that's true. So as it pertains to the podcasting, okay, so in a previous movie they mentioned that your father was one of the greatest pilots in the galaxy, so we have to have him build 3PO and be a great fucking chariot racer for some reason. Okay. Okay.
The 3PO building was excessive. They could have tied him in some other way.
Right. No, I don't understand a lot of the stuff that happened. But I mean, as a whole, where do you stand on those movies? Are they deplorable to you, or are you sort of into it?
I just wish they went a different direction with The Last Jedi. The direction we wanted it to go after having us all hyped with The Force Awakens. I get that they want to tell original story that hasn't been told before, but there's a way to do that, in my opinion, as a non-writer. There's a way to do that without disappointing us, which is ultimately what a lot of longtime fans who have read now non-canonical content wanted. There's a way that they could have pleased us by basically just giving us badass Luke.
Yeah, a way they could have done it without redoing the original series, which is what they seem to be doing now for the most part. So have you read a lot of the EU books? Have you read the Jedi Academy trilogy or any of that?
Not the Jedi Academy trilogy specifically. I've dug into the Old Republic. I read the Empire storyline that happens after where Palpatine clones himself. I forgot what it's called. Dark Empire, I think it is. Where Luke and Leia team up. And he sort of trains her. Again, they don't have to retell all of that, but there's a way they could have given us badass Luke without having him be as disappointing as he was, because whether they silence Mark Hamill or not post shooting, the guy still kind of had the same, you could tell he had the same opinions about Luke as we did. He was set up to be a badass, and sure, they gave him the I can project myself across the universe, but right. I just wanted him to actually get shot and pull down a Star Destroyer,
right? Well,
without having it be a mirage.
So you obviously played The Force Unleashed, right? I mean, that could have been Luke. He even said it in the beginning of the movie. what do you want me to do with a laser sword? I love that like little
Yeah.
nod to George there too. But fucking A, like actually do it. If you're gonna go out, that can be your swan song. Go face down the Empire or the New Order.
First
I
order.
get them confused.
Why couldn't he have pulled down that ship that got split in half by light speed? He could have just pulled that down into the atmosphere. I would
Right.
have been okay with that.
Exactly.
He killed himself by doing that. Yes.
I will give that movie that. That scene was amazing. Maybe a bit of a ripoff from Battlestar Galactica, but still amazing.
Which season of BSG was that? Was that like the most recent one? With,
Yeah. The
James
newer
Sackhoff?
series. Yeah. Have you
Did
seen
that come
that?
out after The Last Jedi?
I just started it yesterday.
Oh.
It's so good. Man, dude, watch it and then have us on your show so we can talk about it.
Yes. Sounds good.
Hey, welcome back.
Yes, sorry. The 4-year-old wanted me to put Jurassic Park on for him.
I don't blame them. While you're here, I'm glad that
that
you're
is-
back so I can go to the bath.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I won't get into it too far just because I don't want to rehash anything. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked it. It definitely it doesn't have the repeat value as other ones. Perhaps it does get a little slow in the middle. But
Yeah. Well, yet, right? Like, if we get the third one or the ninth one, and it blows our minds, then that might just redeem The Last Jedi to some people and have it be a good setup to the ninth for them.
I think part of I think having a movie every year, if there is going to be a downfall to Star Wars, I think having a movie every year is going to be that downfall. And the reason that I say that is because you made reference earlier to, like, they were 30 years apart or 15 years apart. Like the distance between episode 6 and episode 1 was quite a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't have that. So we don't have the nostalgia to kind of like have the nostalgia glasses for when we see it. Like we had that with Force Awakens. We didn't have it with Last Jedi. It was like 2 years later. Now we're going to have episode 9 2 years later. We'll probably have episode 10 2 years later or wherever they go with it, right? So we're not going to have the nostalgia to be like, yes, Star Wars is back. We don't, like, even with, because if you remember, right, when the Phantom Menace came out, people fucking loved it. It wasn't until after the fact that everyone decided they retconned their liking it, and they decided to hate it.
Well, it's also because the internet decided, like,
Well, yeah,
we can actually voice our opinions.
Right, the internet decided. But I mean, like you go back and look at like YouTube videos where like they had different people interviewing people as they left the theater, and people fucking loved Phantom Menace. Like it wasn't like The Last Jedi or even The Force Awakens, where the moment people came out of it, they were like, "What the fuck was that?"
I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, like people loved the Phantom Menace, and people loved Clone Wars, which is the worst of the 3 prequels. And so, you know, obviously going back and the ability to watch things over and over and over again, but you didn't even have to have that with these new ones. Like people either loved it or hated it. Like it was so very polarizing from the moment of viewing because we don't have to wait anymore. Like even with the original trilogy, we knew it was only going to be episodes 1, 2, and 3, and that was it. Or I'm sorry, with the prequels. And so yes, like they weren't the greatest, and yeah, we didn't need to see Anakin as a child and then Boba as a child. Like we didn't need the Sesame Street version of Star Wars, but we knew it was all we were getting, so we took it.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to, because it's like, all right, well that sucked. We'll see what it's like in 2 years. Like there is, like even he fucking hated The Last Jedi, and I would bet you anything he's still going to be there opening night for episode 9. They've got his money, so it doesn't. You know, it's like EA with Madden. Nobody else makes football games anymore, so they don't have to innovate anymore. They're gonna or Call of Duty. Like, and I'm one of those guys. I buy the Call of Duty every year, right? So,
you still do?
Oh yeah, and I'm so fucking pumped for Black Ops. I'm pumped for Black Ops 4 because Treyarch does them better than anybody.
Oh yeah, they do though.
But they don't need to innovate anymore. It doesn't need to be groundbreaking anymore. It's Call of Duty. They've broken their ground. They've earned their place. So now they can just sell you product. And I think the same can be said for Star Wars. They've earned their place. They're Star Wars. they're going to sell toys. They're going to sell lightsabers. They're going to have people like Daniel who do professional lightsaber courses. Like, they have their fan base. They have their cult. That's all they need. And they don't, I mean, would we like to see them push it further? Of course we would. But they don't need to.
I mean, some people could argue that that's what they're doing with The Last Jedi.
Is they're just putting out content for people to spend money on?
No, they're trying to push things in a direction that
you can't.
is
and
new.
I've made this reference before too. So and like, if you compare it to music, and I don't mean a specific genre or a specific band, but if you compare it to music, right? So you've got a band like Disturbed. Now I don't know where your music tastes fall. But so if you don't catch a reference, let me know. But you've got a band like Disturbed or like Godsmack, where for the last 20 years, nothing has changed. And people complain that every album sounds the same. Then you've got bands like Metallica, like Slipknot, like Avenged Sevenfold, who have innovated and changed their music with every album. And then people complain that it doesn't sound like their old stuff. So no matter what you do, someone's going to complain. Do you want Star Wars to be the same old Star Wars? Okay, then watch Star Wars. Do you want Star Wars to be something new? Maybe potentially groundbreaking, something that goes in a different direction than you expect? You've got new Star Wars. But no matter what you do, you're gonna. I mean, it's either going to be the same old, and people are going to complain. Like I asked him, I said, if it was everything you expected it to be, would you have complained? And he said, no, he would have loved it. But why would you? Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, why would you want it to be everything that you're going to expect it to be? Because then you're not surprised. So you're never going to please everybody. And you have to kind of approach it like with The Force Awakens. And look at, I mean, hell, I don't even have to bring up music. Look at The Force Awakens. Everyone complained that it was episode 4 in HD because it fucking was. But I loved it because episode 4 was slow and boring. So it was episode 4 with more action and brighter colors. And everyone fucking complained. Yeah. So then you get The Last Jedi where they go in a completely different direction and everybody complains. What the fuck do you want? Like, pick one. Either
it's not too much of a different direction. It does end on a down note, just like Empire.
Well, yeah. I mean, it had to, though, because it's the mid. I mean, you can't, I mean, not even just like Empire, just like any second movie of a trilogy. Like, The Two Towers did the same thing. It ended on a down note because you have to have them rising from the ashes in episode 3 or the third movie or whatever the case may be. Iron Man 2 ended on a down note. Two Towers ended on a down note. Age of Ultron ended on a down note. You have to rise from the ashes, and I mean, you have to have your phoenix rising. That being said, we are well over an hour. I'm not quite going to cut it yet. We're definitely going into post-show territory, so we'll talk about that.
I'm
after.
so sorry.
No. Don't be. Part of it is because when we made the hour cut, it was when he was getting out of work and I was getting out of work, and we started at 9:30. So things are a little bit different now that we're starting at 8. So you're kind of a guinea pig. But
yeah, experiment on me, please.
But what did you think of the Infinity War trailer? Because we've mentioned that. I've asked that question like 4 times. And what did you think of that? Because what did you think?
So the Infinity War trailer, I think they are trying to condition us if they are on certain people, I guess, dying or not coming back after that movie. They've teased it, but again, I always take trailers with a grain of salt nowadays because they're doing a good job, whether people admit it or not. Now, after the Black Panther trailer, they're doing a good job of not giving us too much in the trailers anymore. They're part of that is baiting us to think one way and then giving us something else in the movie. Part of it is giving us scenes that actually don't end up in the movie but are visually stunning. So I loved it. And for what it is, the hype machine that it is, it just made me want to buy the tickets right away, which I guess in America you guys are able to now. Here in our third world country, I still have to wait another week or 2.
Did you just lay on a thick accent on purpose? Because it sounded like you did.
I do accents and voices.
Yeah, you
But
sounded
yeah,
a little like JF for a
I'm
second
psyched.
there.
I caught a little bit. I caught a little bit of a poo
Apu?
when he was like
Oh.
a week or two.
Thank you. Come again.
Officially the most racist thing on this episode.
So we've heard Watto and Apu. What else you got?
Oh my
Ah,
gosh.
dude, remind me to talk to you about some pre-recorded bumpers because
Yeah, he
Okay.
wants
you
That
do
sounds-
voices.
he wants a poo.
He wants to poop.
I want the poo,
Listen to Mind of a Geek. Thank you. Pod again.
dude. How great would it be to have a thank you come again at the end of the episode?
Dude. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, come again.
Oh man.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
but what did you guys think? Because I loved it. I saw characters that I wanted to see, and it's the right amount of the movie that you can expect from a trailer, in my opinion.
I got nothing bad to say about any of that. It's Marvel, and I'm in. I liked all of it,
Yes.
man. I'm down. I don't have any complaints there, especially after Black Panther. Like they can do no wrong right now.
Yeah.
So
Show me who has the Soul Stone. That's what I want to know.
Oh yeah.
And let it not be Tony Stark.
warlocks have a soul stone.
Touche.
It was inside us the whole time.
For fuck's
That
sake.
seems to be the way they're going with that.
How about you, Nate? What did you think of the trailer?
Okay,
no.
so okay, pre-Black Panther, I am absolutely sick of comic book movies. We don't need 2 or 3 a year. I don't know. I hate everything DC has done other than Suicide Squad. I enjoyed Suicide Squad. I loved Leto as Joker. So I hope we get more of that. But anyway, back to the point. I'm tired of them. They don't do anything for me anymore. I was bored and fell asleep at Civil War. I didn't care for Age of Ultron. Let me. It's the ensemble movies that I'm tired of. Because, and we've talked about this several times, Marvel is so successful because they aren't making comic book movies. You have your heist movie, which happens to have Ant-Man. You know, you have your we've gone down this list before. Whatever. You have your war movie with Captain America. And even with Black Panther, like it's all about it's about their culture. Like it's a culture movie where he happens to have superpowers. You know, like it's not a Black Panther movie. Or I mean it is, but I mean it's not a superhero movie. The ensemble movies are superhero movies, and I think that they fall short the same way that DC does. Because they're trying too hard. And
what falls short? The ensemble movies?
Yeah, the ensemble movies. They try and cram too much into one. I get it. It's the Avengers. Now it's like, I mean, it's too much, man.
I don't have any complaints about the original Avengers
no,
movie.
because there was
Ultron,
because there was 4 or 5 of them, and now with Age of Ultron, they tried to cram in more. Now they're trying to cram in it's exponentially increased, and I get why, because you're killing off the old guard. And you're assigning the new guard. Like, the new guard is going to be Scarlet Witch, Vision, Ant-Man, Wasp, Black Panther, probably some of the Guardians. Like, Howard the Duck better
if you
be in there.
If you follow the logic of the comics, everybody is an Avenger at some point.
Right. I mean, there were comic books, like, every state had their own crew of Avengers, right? Like, wasn't that a thing?
You had the Great Lakes Avengers and the West Side.
There were
the East
main
Side.
Avengers.
You had Secret Avengers, New Avengers,
Right.
All the Avengers.
All the Avengers.
Fuck you, Avengers.
Young Avengers.
The Young Avengers.
I'm not into the young anything comics, like the X-Men First Class type shit. I'm not. I didn't like it.
But
I'm more of an X-Force guy, like 2010 X-Force when it was Deadpool, Wolverine, all that. I'm into that.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I don't
Or
know.
Marvel
I
Knight
I
shit where
I
it's
liked
more
First
adult.
Class. I didn't love Days of Future Past, but I liked First Class.
Right. The movie was all right for an X-Men
Oh,
movie,
yeah.
but for the comics, like where they
Right.
actually focus on the kids in the school,
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
can
not
see
so
that.
into that.
But really quick, just
Yeah.
to finalize my thought, I think it looks decent. for me, in my opinion. Like, I mean, it's going to be a great Avengers movie, right? And I don't doubt that. For my personal taste, I think it's going to be entertaining. The best thing that I saw in that trailer was the dialogue between Star-Lord and Iron Man, and I hope we get more of it. It's like, your plan sucks, so we're going to scrap your plan, and I'm going to make my own so it doesn't suck, or to some of that extent. Like, I love Chris Pratt, and I love Robert Downey Jr., so anything between them is awesome. I mean, you had a guy who if you come out of the movie and go to their real life counterparts, like you have a guy who overcame a drug and alcohol addiction so he could get back into movies and be the role he was born to fucking be, because he is Tony Stark. And then you have a guy who was too fat to be a superhero and hit the gym and lost all the weight that Disney told him to lose so he could play the role he was born to play, because he's fucking Star-Lord. Like, these guys are, and if you can give anything to Marvel, their casting, or the Disney Marvel, is spot the fuck on. Like, Evans is Captain America, and Hemsworth is Thor. Like they have become these characters. Part of it because with most of these guys, you didn't know who the fuck they were. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., because of his drugs and alcohol, was removed enough from Hollywood to where when he came back, he was almost a new actor. Like, younger people didn't know who he was. So you have these actors who, I mean, you had B-level actors playing B-level or lower actors playing B-level or lower characters. And the combination of the quality of the writing with the quality of the acting, as well as how well they were meant for those roles, elevate all of these guys to A-list actors and A-list characters. Like, nobody gave a fuck about the Avengers other than diehard comic book fans until the Avengers movie. Do you know what I mean? So they had no choice, because Sony had Spider-Man, Fox had the X-Men and Fantastic Four, Marvel had almost gone bankrupt. So they had no choice, but they're like, fuck it, let's do one last shot and see if it works. And they fucking, I mean, the Marvel movies, it is the Final Fantasy of movies. And by that being, like, I don't know if you know the lore behind Final Fantasy, but the designer behind the reason Final Fantasy is called Final Fantasy and why now there's been 15 of them, because apparently final doesn't mean anything anymore, is because the developer that made the Final Fantasy game up to that point was a garbage game developer. And he made a handful of games and they all fucking bombed. And he told himself, one more and I'm done. This is my Final Fantasy. So he called it Final Fantasy because everything he made before then was shit. So this was his last one. Yeah. This was his Final Fantasy. And it took off. And it started the greatest collection of RPGs ever made. And it just came out of nowhere. And that's what Marvel did. They're like, all right, we've got our B-level guys. Let's just fucking balls to the wall and see what it does. And it became the largest, most profitable movie franchise of all time. That being said, like Final Fantasy, they ran out of gas a few times. So, yeah. I mean, Age of Ultron is basically Final Fantasy 12.
No, and
I'm hoping I'm hoping Infinity War is their Final Fantasy 15. I'm hoping it's them coming out saying, "Look, guys, we can still do it."
Yeah.
So,
if any character was supposed to elevate Chris Evans from not another teen movie to Hollywood, it should have been one of the most popular characters in Marvel history, which was the Human Torch. But what ended up happening was he had to grind his way through auditions to earn the role of Captain America, because even Marvel was worried that, okay, people will just see you as Human Torch. But now people only see him as Captain America.
His counter to that should have been, nobody saw that movie, don't worry.
It's just like Ryan Reynolds with Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
I mean,
yeah, but
they had a couple poor starts with those superhero movies, but they've got a character now that will overshadow any of that shit.
I mean, look at Michael B. Jordan with Human Torch. And then Killmonger.
The one Marvel movie that I never saw.
Yeah, but now the thing to say about Michael B. Jordan in that piece of shit movie, he was the best thing about the movie. So obviously,
really? I haven't seen it.
No,
No.
he was the
I'll
only.
never watch that.
He was the only reason to see that movie, other than maybe like Doctor Doom being an angry blogger, which is totally a thing. I'm not making that up. Michael B. Jordan was the best thing about that movie. So, and he destroyed it as Killmonger. Like, he was amazing and fucking jacked, dude. Did you hear about what Michael B. Jordan? Did you hear about what happened? So
No.
so there was this 17-year-old girl who. Anyway, did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did. hear about
Did
this.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those that may not have, we'll cover. So she, when he took his shirt off and revealed his perfectly sculpted body, Christ, if I was ever going to be gay,
She thirsted for it.
and she bit down so hard that she popped her retainer and broke it. So her orthodontist tweeted that out. And then she like quoted or she put it on like some other social media site, whatever. And then she tweeted it out, and Michael B. Jordan saw it and like follows her on Twitter now. And he tweeted at her, said, "Hey, like, since I'm responsible for breaking it, if you need me to, I'll replace your retainer for you." Which,
if anything, like that's like wow.
which
Yeah.
not only is hilarious, right? But like it shows the type of person he is. Because he followed this girl on Twitter. He replied her saying he'd replace her retainer, which was obviously just kind of being funny. But the fact that he made the effort to do that is like that's really cool. And it shows the type of person that he is, and the majority of the type of actors that Marvel hires. Because all the things they do for charity, and showing up at Make-A-Wish things in full costume, and especially the ones that have to like kick on the makeup. Like full costume, full makeup to do these things. Like I take none of that away. But again, as far as the movies, I mean, maybe I wasn't a big enough comic book fan for them to have the staying power that they do with people like, you guys or other people who are still loving it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But we'll
I'm
see.
more excited for
We'll see
Deadpool
what they say
2.
anymore.
I'm more excited for Deadpool 2.
I'm more excited for Deadpool 2 because it will beget X-Force and Cable is my favorite character. So I really want an
It's
X-Force
really funny how
movie.
he's supposed to be taller than Deadpool, but Ryan Reynolds is 6'4".
Yeah. That's okay, things have to change for the movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Are you wrapping up, sir?
Yeah, we'll wrap up and then we'll go into push. I mean, assuming you still have time to stick around. I don't know what you got going on a Sunday morning. But yeah, we'll wrap up for the official show and go post show. So why don't you give the rundown of where people can find more of you?
Awesome. If you guys want to find me personally on social media or Twitch, it's twitch.tv/HeraldPlays or @HeraldPlays, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Grindr, Pornhub. Like the usual social media is where you can find me @HeraldPlays.
I don't know. Pornhub is pretty usual social media. I don't know.
That's true.
Based off of Face ID, if they go on Pornhub, they might not be able to tell the difference.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's a perfect reaction. Oh my god! It's HERALD, Herald, like the newspaper, and not like the guy from Hey Arnold. If you want to find more of me on my podcasts and in GED does respect, you slay me.
Ginger was
Adam,
like,
you slay.
Pornhub is Harold plays with himself.
If you want to
Auditory
find me on
masturbation.
my podcasts, if you want to find me doing shoutcasting or any interviews with game developers or our vlogs, as some people call them when we go to conventions, youtube.com/quitstalling, twitch.tv/quitstalling, Instagram, we're @quitstalling, Twitter @quitstallingus, facebook.com/quitstallingus. You can find all our podcasts on any podcatcher, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Pocket Casts. You could look for the Quit Stalling Geekcast or Game Bite with a Y, and then with a Y. Game Bite, yeah.
Like Gigabyte.
So yeah, like Gigabyte, yes.
Just don't
with
buy their
gaming.
stuff. They suck. Buy MSI
Yeah,
or
or your-
Asus. I shouldn't have used Gigabyte as a reference. They're horrible. Don't buy Gigabyte.
I have a Gigabyte.
What the?
Yeah.
Do you?
I thought you said you had a gigabyte. I'm not gonna look up
that
from my
too.
iPad. No,
You
no,
can find out
no.
how Harold
Sir-
plays with himself.
Sir Mix-a-Lot
on-
likes a gigabutt.
Oh yeah.
I don't
cannot lie.
fucking know. Yeah. So I don't know, dude. This was a blast, man. It was so fun having you on. I had based off of the pre-show and what I can only imagine is going to come in the post-show. I had no idea where this was going, and it was so much fun. And I look forward to having more opportunities to chat with you again and to showing up on your show and offending a lot of people.
Thank you for having me, guys. Like this was a treat. I like I said, I've listened to you guys quite a bit, and it's weird being on the other side, but also enlightening. Ooh, yes.
I'm sure it's enlightening. Feel free to come back anytime.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Oh look, our number one Asian fan.
There he
Crowley
is.
Bear. You guys are gonna have to have like a pit fight and see who the number one is.
But like I mentioned in the pre-show, I will be running away as he attempts to maul me.
Oh.
Anyway,
Quick to the post show.
So yeah, as for us, you can catch Mind of a Geek live Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at inkedgeekstudios.tv or twitch.tv/inkedgeekstudios. If you can't catch us live, you can subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever quality podcasts are found. If you are listening on iTunes, a 5-star review is very much appreciated. Helps move the show up the ranks. And if not, I'm an Apple guy, so I don't know if other things have rating systems too. It'd be great. So typically now is when I would pitch the Patreon or pitch anything else, but I'm going to do a little different now, and we've done this before. But if you listen to this show and you like this show, tell someone. Tell somebody about the show. Tell a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody who also listens to podcasts, or maybe they don't, and maybe you think they should, and that you think that they would like this show. Just help spread the word. Help tell people about it. As much as financial support is great, and if you want to financially support this show, this probably isn't the first episode you've listened to, so you know how to do that by now. But spread the word. Tell someone about us. Let more people become fans like yourself and like Harold. But but other than that, inkedgeekstudios.com is where you can find all the other information. All the shows are coming back. Indie Case Files returns Monday. Amy will be talking about Mini Metro, which is a Steam and iOS Android game. And I will be talking about Transport Fever. So we're kind of going with like the micro simulator or transport simulator with the macro transport simulator. So we're kind of hitting it from both directions. So that should be a lot of fun. I assume we're going to try and bring Movie Busters back next Sunday.
I hope so.
Okay. So Movie Busters next Sunday. And then STFU will be coming, Solutions to Fix the Universe, with Corey Scott joining us for the first time as a host on the network. That'll be debuting Tuesday at 10 p.m., Tuesday, April 3rd at 10 p.m. And all geeked up. We've got another storm rumored for Wednesday, Thursday. It depends on the weather.
I have Wednesday off for once.
You do have Wednesday off?
I do.
Okay, so Brandon confirmed has Wednesday off. All geeked up at some point in time will happen on Wednesday. So the last thing I will pitch, if you want to know, if you want the first dibs on what movie we're doing on Movie Busters and the time that All Geeked Up will go live and stuff like that, you can subscribe to our newsletter. That is the main form of that's the main way that we're transporting information to people now, with all the I had the word last week, all the curation that's going on with Facebook, Twitter, things like that. They're jumbling up everyone's news feeds and whatnot. If you go to tinyletter.com/IG Studios and subscribe to our newsletter, there is at least a newsletter every Thursday, which will be our guest on Saturday, the movie for Sunday, the games that Amy and I are playing on Monday, and then what we're covering on STFU on Tuesday and on All Geeked Up on Wednesday. So literally everything you need to know about all the shows will be in that newsletter, as well as like announcements, cancellations, reschedules, any up-to-date information. That'll all be sent out via newsletter before anything else. So again, tinyletter.com/IG Studios, and you will always be up to date.
Always.
I think that's it.
Are you sure?
I think so. So a big thank you to our live Twitch audience, especially a big thank you to any of the Quit Stalling fans that came over to hang out with us. And we hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you become regular fans of ours as well. Herald, again, a big thank you. Thank you not just for coming on, but thank you for being a fan, man.
Thank you for being
It is my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for
Travel
being
down that road
Thank
and
you, man.
back again.
the dancing man. Dancing man.
You're a friend and a confidant.
Yeah, thank
for
you
sure.
guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. It has been a pleasure.
The feeling is mutual. It's
It's
been a
a
lot of fun.
pleasurable sensation.
If you are listening live on Twitch, stick around. There will be a post show, and who the fuck knows what it's going to contain. For Harold, for Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you guys next week. You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.
I don't want to eat the dick.